Welcome, everyone. It's 6 o'clock. I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Whately Selectboard. We have a packed agenda. First item is to review and vote on the meeting minutes from the previous meeting. Are there any comments on the meeting minutes?
No
No
comments.
comments.
Okay, then I put
To approve.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Next item is to review and discuss vendor and payroll warrants. Are there any comments on the vendor and payroll warrants?
No comments.
Okay. Anyone care to move?
Not
Oh,
necessary.
we don't need to, that's right, that's not a voting. Okay, sorry. It is public access, though, so you are allowed to swear. Okay,
Noted.
all right. It's time for public comment. This is a time for people to comment up to 3 minutes per person on items that are not on the agenda. So is there anybody here? I don't see anyone joining us by Zoom. If you all are here for things that are on the agenda? Okay, all right, great. Then public comment. We're cruising here, aren't we? Old business fall 2025 special town meeting. We need to review the current draft of the special town meeting warrant. So maybe Pete can help take us through that.
So the current draft has 5 articles right now. The first article is approval of a prior year bill. There is an outstanding invoice from 2023 to Truestone for $234.
How do we miss that?
Good question. They slipped through, but thankfully Garrett did identify it, and so we just have that one prior year bill. The second article is the request to approve transfer of free cash for the group health insurance increase. So this would be a transfer of $111,000 based on the approved operating budget for the current year. It's a 20% increase.
Yes, that lovely one that so many of us are dealing with in all the various towns.
It's all various towns, yep. Article 3 is the placeholder based on whether or not we will take up a request for funding for the South County Senior Center. It's still a TBD, but at least the placeholder is there.
Yep.
And then Article 4. Fred, you may know about this particular one. So this has to do with the ability for the town to accept the provisions of MGL Chapter 44, Sections 54, Sub B, C, and D, which essentially allows the town to invest and utilize prudent investment rule for trust funds. So it's about $250,000 that we have in trust funds. It gives the town a greater ability to invest those monies outside of the more stricter standard municipal, Mass General Law allows a local adoption to allow the treasurer to invest that way. Not that they have to, but that it gives them the ability to be, when I say, I mean, to invest in some funds that typically would not be invested in because they may be considered more risk because they have a longer term benefit. But it does not require that you do it. It just gives the treasurer the ability to, the treasurer along with the firm that we use.
Historically, trust funds, the town trust funds have received minimal
Yeah,
Minimal
investment
returns.
income.
yeah,
And while I don't think we're gonna be buying any junk bonds, I don't think those would be within the
Yeah.
rules. It would give us greater
yes.
latitude in being able to make at least a little money off them.
But it does require town meeting to accept that option, that local option to allow.
Yeah, and so I think, I guess between now and then, I need to learn what prudent investment rule is and kind of what are the
Yeah,
checks and balances on that.
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
And then the only other one is for Article 5, it's the zoning bylaw amendment, specifically the Aquifer Protection District bylaw amendment. So this would be adding in and identifying that in prohibited uses within the Aquifer Protection District, that battery energy storage systems of a size of 300 kilowatt hours would not be permitted or allowed at all within the Aquifer Protection District. And then The second section of the revision is to define aggregate energy storage capacity, battery energy storage system, and kilowatt hour.
Yeah.
The planning board is holding a hearing next week on that bylaw amendment. It's the only zoning bylaw amendment at the public hearing, so that's why it's the only article that's in the draft.
You know, honestly, from my point of view, that takes care of the 99% of what we're worried about.
Yeah.
For battery energy storage bylaw.
Yeah,
So I think it's really, that was a good strategic move to get this done. And then take a look at the complicated one.
yes, yeah, it's the fastest way to do the quickest protection.
And to get the
If
most
it's an
protection.
existing
that-
bylaw, so we do a minor modification.
Yes.
Are there any questions on the drafted warrant at this point?
I have a question on Article 2, and we've probably discussed this. I know we typically say don't use free cash to cover recurring expenses. What are we gonna do in coming years? To
Well,
cover?
the GIT is revising their plan options for the coming fiscal year, so that way, when we are doing the budgeting for next year, well, in January, they're gonna let us know what the new, actually, there's preliminary discussions. I think it's tomorrow that we're having the meeting where they're going to introduce some of the possible plans. So that way, we have additional plans to offer, such as a high deductible or removing the high cost plan. We'll be able to better understand what the implication will be, but,
And also that'll be in the general budget. It won't require an additional infusion.
yeah,
As this one did, and this was
an unexpected.
This was unexpected.
Not budgeted for. 'cause
Put
we're
on
not-
after the passing.
Yeah, so what I'm hearing is it might not be that we have a $100,000 increase in our healthcare line item. Baked in
Permanently.
permanently.
The hope is that no,
Yeah.
that we won't see, because essentially what this increase will do is it's going to increase the current budget to 660,000. About 660,000, hopefully we can bring that back down next year because the plan offering changes.
But hopefully we will know exactly. We'll have a firm figure when we go through the budgeting, and we won't have this additional charge.
Yeah.
Next year.
Okay. But the money still has to come from somewhere.
For this.
We need to cover the costs during this fiscal year, so that's why.
No, I mean
Yeah.
next year the money.
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah,
So,
it will,
Is,
Right,
yes,
and
Yeah.
we're fortunate this year that we do have the money in free cash.
Yeah.
yes.
Good funding.
okay. That's my only question.
Okay, and then learning more about what prudent investment rule means, is that something that maybe I can do that offline?
Yep.
And you know, chat with
Yeah,
her.
the town treasurer has some stuff. Fred was on an email. Were you on the email back in December when Amy had contacted? I think you might have been copied on it.
Yeah,
Bartholomew gave us. some,
Yeah.
And that's where the language came from,
Mhm.
but they explained what it means. They actually did a really good summary. I could always just.
Because you
print that out.
forward me the
Yeah.
summary?
Yeah.
That, I think that would probably be enough, because I think for the special town meeting, we'll need to have something like that. I'm sure other people are gonna have the same question.
yeah, but
I want
Pete-
this-
Pete's-
You're giving the treasurer the ticket to the casino or something, you know,
Yeah.
that, I mean, I think everybody will wanna understand what the.
Yeah. people
what
feel
the-
I
like-
think Pete's nutshell description covers it, that it allows,
That
It just-
allows.
it allows for a somewhat broader range of investments, but
It's
still,
still limited.
there are still
It's still
severe limitations
Yeah.
on what it did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just not as limited as.
Right, currently, it is extremely limited what
Yeah.
trust funds can do. I see Lynn.
But yeah, I'll forward that email to all three of you. So
Okay.
you can read
So
through that
for-
summary. There is an attachment. Kate even already provided recommendation on this,
Oh, okay,
and what it means, but yeah.
all right. Okay, very good. Any more discussion on this?
Yep.
All right. Hey, we're on to new business already. We are a third of the way through our agenda, but I think this might be the more comprehensive part of our meeting. And because we're having the comprehensive emergency management plan, which we have right here, to review, discuss, and vote on a draft of the updated comprehensive emergency management plan. And I think this is where we let Lynn walk us through this, because I know you'll be shocked to learn this. I have not read every page of this document.
Well, let me give you a little bit of background. Over the
Okay.
years, well, ever since 9/11, basically, emergency management has come up with making sure that everyone follows various methods to emergency management. And years ago, they had this generic template that was the first 2/3 of the plan that we didn't modify anything, it was just generic information. Then the part that the towns are responsible for was a resource manual, so you would make a listing of everyone that you might have agreements with, or would go, you know, if you needed transportation, you'd list all the bus companies you could contact, and that was our resource manual. And then and we kept that updated over the years, and then about in, I wanna say 2013, they changed the whole template again. And I have to admit that just about the time I got it done, it was going to present it, they changed the template again. So this is the template, the black template,
The one they're gonna change next week.
that they might change next
Okay,
week.
so we better act quick.
All right.
But basically, it's just, again, it's a template, it kind of just directs you, it makes you think about what your procedures would be in an emergency.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna go through the whole thing because it is a lot of just plain template. But it tells you, okay, who has the authority to, call an emergency or open the emergency operations center. This document will tell you that, and basically you folks in coordination with the emergency management director would have the authority to call an emergency and open the emergency operations center. The emergency management team that we are dealing with, that the town has, is basically made up of the fire chief, the highway superintendent, the police chief, the board of health. Sometimes it's a couple of members of the board of health, sometimes it's a couple of members of the police department or the fire department and myself. And we basically would handle the emergency at your direction.
Yeah.
Excuse me, sorry, does South County EMS?
Yes, yeah, well, they're kind of.
I know, because they're not.
It matters the emergency, if it's, you know, a fire emergency
Yeah.
within town, they would be on call through the usual. Emergency standard, we would call dispatch and they would dispatch, but they are involved in the emergency management team. So, basically, we met two or 3 months ago and went through the plan, got some ideas on how we would wanna, function during an emergency. There's different, incident command systems that you can have. Whenever Whately has their own emergency,
Mhm.
we usually conduct it on a, discipline basis, so that if it's a fire emergency, the fire department will be in control of the scene. In the regular incident command system, you'd have a planning person, a logistics person, a financial person, so, and an operations manager. So it depends on the emergency, and both of those are included in this document. We have, if it's a smaller emergency that we feel we can handle within the town, like our tornadoes
Mhm.
and wind damage incidents, we would use just our standard one where we'd have the highway, probably the highway
Highway,
super in
yeah.
that instance to handle the main part of it. The emergency management director would still be in charge of it. So, but if it's something that involved the whole county, then we would go on the incident command system that has planning, operations. But we would also, we may end up having to have a broader management system, which would include other jurisdictions. So many times the Western Mass emergency, I can't, if, no,
No.
no,
Mhm.
well, BEMA gets involved,
Yeah.
but a lot of times another one of the, what's. Think of it. See, this is what happens with.
Oh,
Homeland, Western Mass Homeland Security, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
might come in and manage an incident. That's what happened when we had the, truck turnover on 91.
No,
John was our representative from the town, but they had
They
the
took over
connections to
yeah.
handle something of that nature.
you're right.
So it all kind of depends on what incident you're dealing with. If it's a pandemic, the Board of Health would take over, and that's what they did during COVID, it was under the direction of the Board of Health. But this document here just kind of guides you as to how you would manage an incident. It tells you who you need to have, it's more they want you to be more coordinated. They want the towns to make sure that all groups are included and deciding everything. So that's why we had our emergency planning meeting. There were a few people that we didn't get involved at that particular time, but we'll have to have them also look this plan over and approve it, like the school.
Mhm.
They have their own
Mhm.
emergency management plan also. So, this would be in addition to that, and the finance, it would most likely be Jennifer, to look over the finance part of it, even though, finance basically would be doing, whether they're involved in the emergency management plan or not, they're gonna be kind of doing the same things. Because they're gonna be the ones that have to make sure that, funding's available and borrow if we needed to borrow, so they would do that anyways.
Yeah.
So it's more of, this particular version of the SEM plan is to get everyone on the same page. There's not, if you look at the plan, it's not specifically detailed.
Yeah.
Because you would end up adapting the plan to the emergency. So if you have an emergency, you're gonna look at the plan and say, oh, okay, in this situation, we need this, and this.
And then the information that you need is at your
Yeah.
fingertips.
Right,
already,
and
because you made the
there's annexes that are part of this that would include other plans. There would be the, South Deerfield, reservoir plans, Northampton reservoirs plans, Berkshire Gas Emergency Management Plan. So there's a bunch of other plans that would end up being annexes to this plan, along with the coup plan that we're working on. And the natural hazards mitigation plan, and all of these will become annexes to the SEM plan. It also gives directions for every department on what their responsibilities would be in the emergency, kind of a checklist. And I think that's probably one of the more vital parts of the SEM plan, is to have that checklist and let people know what they're gonna be responsible for. So,
So it sounds to me, overall, this is to help us be organized. When an emergency comes up in a flexible way, because we don't know what the emergency is gonna be. And it helps keep resources at people's fingertips, and it sort of ahead of time subdivides the responsibilities.
right,
So that, the highway superintendent can say, well, on this emergency, these ones make sense for me,
right,
and so on,
exactly.
And then they have to do whatever you tell them to do.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Well,
No, I just, the thing with, over the years, the emergency management director. I think the reason why BEMA made this template the way they did was because of incidents in the past. That, towns would have 4 or 5 different people all calling all calling Eversource. And trying to figure out, so which person do they listen to in that town? So this plan wants one person to be the contact person with Eversource. So that person we can, as an emergency management team, we can determine which priorities need to
Mhm.
be taken care of. Say, it's one of the things that happened in one of the big storms is that there was lots of damage on the east side of town. The west side of town didn't have any damage, but they had no power.
Mm,
And it was like, what's going on? They had no clue as to what was going on. Come to find out, if we repaired one area on Haydenville Road, it would give all of West Whately power. So, thinking, okay, we've got all our infrastructure all taken care of. So we took care of, made sure the water plant was working, all those priorities, the town offices and making sure that
Mhm.
those are all up and running appropriately. Then you kind of have to figure out, okay,
What's the next step?
what's the next step, which would result in the best outcome. So,
Yeah.
okay, we'll get that tree taken off of those wires up there and get that taken care of in the whole western side of town. The east side of town, unfortunately, had a lot of damage, so it took a long time.
But it made that tree a priority over the maybe 15 trees.
At that point, it was getting more people
Yeah.
taken care of. And we knew it was gonna take a lot longer, because there were whole replacements and everything on the east side. The other important thing is to getting messages out to the people.
Mhm.
We do have our, Connect CTY system to call people. Other alternatives, which are also part of this plan, is how else would we get the word out? You have your news stations, you can do that, you can do the radio stations, you can go broadcasting on bullhorns through neighborhoods, we can also pinpoint those. We can, if there's an emergency with the dam up in West Whately,
Mhm.
we can actually pinpoint and have a certain area notified.
Yeah, Westbrook Road. I wanna
Evacuate.
know when that is.
Conway Road, yeah.
Well, the funny thing is, some of the areas, you would think Conway Road would just be, but because it will be going so fast through really
Rather
deep
yeah.
areas,
Right.
that Conway Road doesn't get as flooded as Westbrook Road
Better-
Yep.
in the inundation
Yeah.
maps.
We're all slowed down to you.
Or I'll
So,
swim,
yeah.
I'll swim up to you.
So that's why we try to keep those up to date as best as we can, those listings, so that we can make sure we get people notified if,
Yeah.
there is a dam
I
problem.
get 3 notifications and I'm happy to get 3 notifications on my cell phone, my home phone and my email. Because, then that way it gets to me. And
Yeah.
so, and then some people would be like, oh, I'm getting all these notifications. I'm like, I'm getting all these notifications, hooray.
So that has worked well, as long as we can get people to sign up for it. That's why I did the mailing not long ago, to
Yeah.
have people voluntarily supply their information.
Yeah,
And as far as
the response.
it was somewhat,
Muted. Yeah,
disappointing, let's say.
I see.
And
Right,
it
well-
used to be that when people had landlines, Verizon would automatically update that list. They had a connection with Connect CTY and it would just automatically
Go to the next
do it,
person.
yeah. But, because everyone's on
Yeah.
cell phones now.
I'm gonna go knock on the door of that person who's down at the bottom of Westbrook Road now. They're really gonna get it into and they're new to town, so they might not know that. So I'll go make sure they get on next CTY. Yeah.
Yeah, so, if you talk to people, ask them to make sure that they fill out that form and get on the
Yeah.
list, because
And the other way to get on it is just to call the town office
they could call the town
And-
offices.
and, because if they can't find that piece of paper.
Right,
yeah.
Amy LaValley has permission, Amy LaValley has permission to be
Yeah.
on that system, so, they could just call and have their names and name and number, as many, I think it's up to 5 phone numbers.
Yeah,
And you can put your email, you can have text messages versus
Yeah,
voice
Versus-
messages
voice
or
messages.
both if you want.
Yeah.
So it's important.
Yeah.
You know, you're gonna get a few phone calls saying town meeting is gonna be on this date, but that's not a bad thing either.
yeah,
We
try
want your
not to-
participation in that.
Right. We try not to abuse it.
and I think you do a good job.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I
Because
think
we,
it's really only used once a month-ish.
yeah,
And if there were emergency and I got 5 of them, I don't care.
right. So I don't know if you wanted to review that again. The next step is to have the select board approve the plan. And then I need to get signatures from all the other departments as well. There's only a couple on that list that I probably need to get the plan to before. It's got to all my emergency management director people, but it hasn't gone to the school and Jen hasn't looked at it. So, I would need to get their signatures as well. And then the plan is updated yearly, so.
Which is why we pay you so handsome.
Wes, I have a question about, as I looked over this on my computer before the meeting, I was like, God, if there really was an emergency, I wouldn't want him to go. What happens? What happens? Is there gonna be any kind of a training with, all groups, just to say,
Because
who do you,
that-
who do you
Well,
call
typically
first?
we have to have,
Who do you call
we have
first,
to
and then what
plan.
happens?
we have to practice the plan.
Yeah,
Mm.
okay.
Oh, okay.
So once it's approved, we actually have to have an event
Yep,
and run through the plan,
that makes sense.
so.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, cool.
So, but that will be a little bit down the road until, once NEMA has to approve it too, so.
All emergencies, please hold.
We'll handle any emergency that comes along, even if the plan
Even
is
if
not
we have-
approved.
right. Right.
Yeah.
So even NEMA will accept us even without the approved plan, so. And they are, NEMA is very good about when we have a expanded incident. I'm not sure what the result of federal funding for NEMA is gonna result in, but in general, they've been really good trying to get us resources. They got the, conservation rec people in when all the trees came down at the center, at the elementary school during that storm. They came in and, took care of that. I don't wanna say we were lucky, but in a way, we were lucky enough that the incident was so confined that we were able to get those resources.
Yeah,
Whereas if it's a more widespread incident.
then you're competing with other places.
So, yeah. But, they've been very good over the years.
There were some places in there where it talked about, oh God, there's like a system that you log on to.
Yep,
And-
Leviosa.
Yeah, and some of them were, administered, I think, through FEMA or through the federal government. Is there anything that's been cut or pulled back? or
Leviosa is
changed?
managed by NEMA.
Okay,
So we still have access, and basically it is. To let NEMA know what your emergency is. Ask them for any resources you might need. They allow multiple people sign-ons to Leviosa. But only one person per event, so that the messages that are getting sent to NEMA are
From the same person.
consistently from the same person.
Yeah.
So usually when I get off, if I go on vacation or something, I say, well, JP, you're
You're it.
you're gonna take over if there's an emergency, and I let, NEMA know that JP would be the person.
yeah.
So and that's worked out well. I'm trying to think of, we had an incident where I was away and JP had to handle it, and I can't remember what it was right now.
Rainbow Hotel. Hotel.
Oh, yeah, motel fire.
Oh, and isn't that a perfect one for the fire chief?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he had called me, I was on vacation, he had called me, and I said, well, why don't, rather than me calling them, you let me call him and just let him know that he can deal with you directly, because it makes more sense rather than going,
Yeah,
plus this is a 3 hour time change and everything else, so, and it worked out well. So,
yeah.
but if you review that in more detail if you want, and have any questions, just let me know. I can also give you a list of pages that would probably be the most important
That would be
ones for
awesome.
you to know.
Yeah.
Because there is a lot of stuff in there, I mean, descriptions of the town of Whately, I mean,
Yeah.
I think we all know that the town of Whately is in Franklin County, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But there are certain pages that might be more important for you, and I can give you a list of those pages that would be.
Yeah, I would
Okay.
like that, 'cause I don't feel like I'm gonna come up with any edits,
You know,
but I do feel like I need to get to know this better. I don't know that me getting to know it better, I don't think there's gonna be any changes. I don't think that should hold up approval
Yeah.
myself, but I would like to, if you have
I agree.
a Reader's
I'd like to know what
Reader's
it says,
Digest
but
set of
I
pages
don't
that.
feel that we're equipped to make any
Well,
significant edits.
as in. I find a lot of the plans to be overly cumbersome, to tell you the truth.
Yeah,
And, you know, right from community development plans to natural hazard mitigation plans, but. Those details are required to have the plan accepted by the Massachusetts. Whatever group.
Yeah.
So a lot of that is just,
Another reason for us not to micromanage it.
right, it's
Another-
just
that's right,
template,
exactly.
you know? So I can pick out the pages that are probably the most important for you folks.
Okay. Okay.
And
I
I'll
would
send a
appreciate
list.
that.
Okay.
Well,
Thank you.
You're welcome.
thank you for all your hard work.
And then the next one you'll get is the COOP plan, which is continuation of operations plan.
Okay,
And every,
we did the other day. I
yeah,
think.
right, and there's only, the front part of that plan is only like 6 pages, so
Oh, okay,
that's a nice short one.
so we'll be able to get that.
And
ready
then
for
the
you.
rest of it will be all the annexes from the different departments.
Okay,
And the purpose behind that one is just to make people think.
Yeah. you wanna think about that now?
Yes, you know, what would I do if I couldn't get to the town offices because it was flooded or something? How would I manage to continue be the treasurer collector? What would I do? So that's why every department has to figure out how they would function if
Mhm.
their records weren't available here. Which may present a bigger picture of, digitizing records and things like that, that may be helpful, because not all our records are digitized. So, you know, that may be something that people might want to consider future, so that if you had to upkeep your office, you could set up shop at the town hall or somewhere else.
We're going to your house, actually.
Good luck.
You'll be on a cruise. somewhere.
I'll be on a cruise, maybe. So, but that one will be coming down, soon,
Okay,
probably next month.
okay.
Does the board want this item on the emergency management plan brought back to the next meeting so that you can further review it?
Yeah,
and
we
vote
need
on
the
it next time?
approvals
From the school.
from
Yeah.
school
Yeah.
and the.
Do we need those first, or
Treasurer.
is?
I think you can approve it without, if they bring back any problems with it, then I just bring it back to you if there were any
No,
objections, so.
you know, because I don't have an
I
objection
don't
to
have an objection.
I
approving it,
don't either,
Yeah.
yeah.
so maybe we should make that into a motion.
I move that the board approve the comprehensive emergency management plan as reviewed and discussed.
Second.
All right, moved and seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Right,
And there is a sign-off sheet, as part of the plan.
okay, so if the sign.
Probably-
Really,
It matters whether you printed out those front pages or not. The plan, probably page 10.
there's a signature page here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one? Mm.
So.
It doesn't have my name on it.
There are a
Actually,
couple of different pages.
there's a couple.
Oh, there we
different
go.
things, Yeah.
There we go, all right, oh, yeah, there's another one. Okay, so we'll sign one of these before we leave.
Yeah, I can go ahead and print
I just
just.
wanna print the, yeah, I just printed
Oh,
out,
okay.
yeah. That would
Cause
probably,
those are double sided.
Yeah, that would probably be easier. I want.
No.
I see that in the promulgation statement, the day and month need to be.
Yes,
adjusted.
yeah.
But there, right now, it says day, month.
Yeah, I didn't bother putting anything in
Right,
there, and
Right,
plus
but
on the side of the.
fast.
What pages are,
And not numbered on here.
There's not numbered on my packets, I know.
Right,
The promulgation statement and the approval and implementation. Which are right behind
Yeah, with
this,
this for it, yeah.
Yeah,
that cover sheet.
the front few
Something
pages
like
just
page
explain
14.
what the
Yeah.
plan's about.
Oh,
and
There's
the
a
yeah.
second cover
plan.
page
that.
that you'll see, and then it's after that second cover.
okay. So we need both of those pages because one you're signing with Lynn.
yeah,
Okay. Okay,
okay,
Okay, cool.
all right,
Can I ask one question that's
yes.
might be emergency management related? Zip code, what's the status?
I think Amy's the person with the status, but
Okay.
and my understanding is there's
It's-
some miscommunication may have
Okay.
happened. But it could all be like it's miscommunication within the post office. Because they gave us, my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, we got a pretty clear message from them that says, yes, we'll do it if you guys will vote for it. And then this last time, okay, we're ready, we voted for it, this is how we wanna do it, they're like, what do you mean? So,
The right hand doesn't know what the left
So-
is
that
doing.
it might be the right hand doesn't know what
it
they're
did
doing.
require us, if we were denied,
Okay,
so what it requires is we had to submit an appeal request, and so the appeal
Okay.
has been submitted.
okay.
Yeah.
I was just wondering, because I'll have to do some things. with
Because
the-
that will
Yeah.
affect you, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So, great,
I'm all
thanks,
set.
thanks for asking.
Okay, thank you.
And thanks for coming in and appreciate all the stuff you do, cause this is. You know, somebody like you, this task is probably a little easier because you know so much about how all the different parts of town operate. I can't imagine me trying to do this, so,
Well, it's, there's a lot of work to it.
yeah, it's a lot of work to it and, do either way, but it would be just so much. More difficult for somebody who's not knowledgeable to do it, and I can have confidence that this is done right because you're doing it.
Thank you. Okay, well, have a good
Okay.
evening.
Thank you, Lynn.
Yeah.
All right, our next item is a letter of support. Which we should review, discuss and vote on. It's a letter of support for, House Bill 2432. An act to reduce incidence and death from pancreatic cancer. Which personally, I'm like, who's in favor of death by pancreatic cancer? So I just sort of, yeah, this is kind of a no-brainer. Does anybody have an opinion on this law? That we're being asked to, support,
Certainly support this law.
I would too.
that we.
Do
Yeah,
we know what causes pancreatic cancer, besides just living in the world with all kinds of stuff going on?
I'm not
you know,
sure.
I'm not that kind of doctor, but I
Not any
mean,
kind.
how many people know, I know someone
Yeah.
died of
Oh,
pancreatic
yeah.
cancer, and everybody knows.
Exactly.
Yes.
And it's just one of those that they catch it when it's stage 4,
Yeah,
and what do you do?
Yeah, the symptoms don't show up until it's usually too late, unfortunately, so,
Yes, so,
yeah.
yeah, so I have no problem sending a letter of support for H 2432.
In case I move that the board submitted a letter of support for H 2432 and direct the town administrator to utilize the Dartmouth letter as a framework for,
second,
All those in favor?
I,
aye.
Aye. All right. Very good. All right, next. Licensing authority. We're gonna exercise our licensing authority here. We're gonna review, discuss and vote on a final release of the all alcohol on premises license related to the license transfer request for the Whately Inn at 193 Chestnut Plain Road. And I'm not sure, like, what, yeah, can I?
So essentially, they were doing the transfer, this has been ongoing
Yes.
Yeah,
from one
It's been
family member
before.
to another
Yes,
family member.
the brothers, yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you did approve it back in December, I think we did it about December.
yeah,
And then got submitted to the ABCC, and now the ABC said, okay, they agree, so now
Okay.
they're saying, okay, board is the local licensing to release it, so.
Okay,
Now your turn to
Yeah.
all right.
say you're willing to release the license now to the new
Yeah,
identified owner.
so instead
Okay.
of Kevin, it's Susan.
No, I move that the board approve and release the all alcohol on premise license to Stephen Clock Inc. / the Whately Inn.
Second.
Great, moved and seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, very good. We have a few personnel related items. Also, and mostly not controversial. The first personnel item is to review, discuss, and vote on the appointment of an animal inspector. And I actually got a question about this at the scoop folding the other day. They said, are you guys gonna approve an animal inspector? And I'm just, well, wait. Can't tell what the other board members are gonna vote, but if we've got a person who's willing to do it,
Yes,
excellent.
we had
Several great
Yeah.
people. This is not an easy decision.
yeah,
Yeah. Oh,
Very strong.
That's good. That, when are they gonna quit then? Like, how many weeks are they, to me, that's the criteria.
Storm, I mean, Storm was great, Storm was in for
Like
over a half year,
6 of those
but
months.
she entered the military, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Just a new one.
this is a stipend position where they're essentially just, it's an on-call basis, yeah.
Right,
Plus the barn inspection.
And plus the barn
Plus the-
inspection during the fall, yep.
so. I mean, how fast can we get the motion to nominate this person from the board?
I move that the board appoint Jacqueline Alston, Aston as the town's new animal inspector.
Second.
All right, moved and seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, welcome, Jackie.
Yay.
Yay. The next item is to review, discuss, and vote to post an opening for community development administrator. Because this is one where,
This occurred after the report was written, Julie,
Ah, okay.
so that's
It's
why
like, where's the motion?
it's on the agenda.
Yeah.
It happened
Yeah.
after,
yeah.
so unfortunately, Rusty has resigned. Rusty got an offer from a nonprofit that they had been trying to get into, and that
I was
nonprofit got
told it-
funding to finally fill that role.
Yeah,
Rusty was
so
great.
disappointed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
But I
it's a
mean, it's-
difficult decision. It is more in line with what they want to do. And it was a bit of a commute coming from Springfield, but
yeah,
so, through the exit interview process, the one thing that did come up was that the job responsibilities don't really require a 40-hour position.
Hmm.
They accepted the 40 hours because really wanted a full-time position, but really there was a lot of downtime. So my request, if we are to post this, I would like to post it that it can be offered as low as 28 hours up to full-time of 40 hours if the applicant or the person that wants to fill the position would prefer a more part-time status. If my other suggestion is to offer that if it is somebody who wants to do more part-time, to allow 2 days in office and like 1 day work from home. The only reason why I don't want to do that on the full-time is the full-timers are treated equally, where all full-time has to be in the office when the building is open. And I don't want a special case for
Right.
one individual, one position. Especially when it is somebody that is supposed to interact with the public, so. But if they are part-time, we do allow our part-time staff to work outside of the office.
on
During
days.
their hours, yeah, so. That would be my only suggestion, if the board is open to it in the posting, I would allow for a part-time down to 28 and. Part-time would allow for hybrid status. But no change to responsibilities, the responsibilities would stay the same, it's just probably the responsibility based on, you know, the needs of Whately don't really require 40 hours.
Yeah,
We have it funded that we,
Right.
if they wanted to work up to that, or if they
yeah,
got a ton of grants all of a sudden and needed to put in more time, we absolutely have the
Yeah.
money to pay them back.
yeah. And so, yeah, I sort of feel like, I mean, if it means we can get a good person who will stay.
Yeah.
Then I think that's a good idea, and I think it would be best to have someone full-time, because I want them to go out and get a million grants. And we know the grants are just gonna be harder and harder to get, so there's gonna be maybe more grant writing and maybe a smaller success rate.
Yeah.
With those, but that still means the work has to go, has to go in.
Yeah.
I would say that one of the times there's grant mining to be done
Grant mining.
out there. That can fill whatever hours need to be filled.
Yeah. And I assume that their pay, their salary would be proportional to the hours.
Yeah, the salary is currently based on an hourly rate from our step table, so yeah, I would actually post it at the hourly rate.
Okay,
And we would just say 28 to 40 hours.
okay. All right,
It still means that they could get benefits because they would be over 20.
Yeah.
And then their PTO would be prorated based on whatever they did for the hours.
yeah. Okay. Well, I just, I'll voice my strong preference for getting someone who's willing to work full-time, but
Yes.
I think it's more important that we get someone in there who's gonna be the steady,
Yes.
steady, and that's why I was kind of disappointed. It's like, yeah, we got somebody who was really good, seemed like they were gonna really get along with the office.
Yeah,
And like a shot of energy. That's what I feel
Yeah.
like Rusty was, a shot of energy.
Rusty got things so well organized. Everything's like in a very good spot, very well documented.
And for whoever's this.
Yeah. Yeah,
I would rather see it posted as a full-time position. And if someone comes in and says, it's just not enough work. And, you know, I wanna take another part-time job, maybe we can renegotiate with that person then. But I think advertising it as full-time rather than having someone who expects only to work 26, 28, whatever hours.
And then can't bump it up.
And then can't bump it up if needed.
Yeah, okay. Hmm. Can you post it as, I mean, there are lots of positions that post, you know, it's X amount of time, but weekends and evenings are required occasionally, so can you post it as 28 to 40, but 40 can be required? And that,
Right, yeah,
might usually
that'd be
28.
difficult. Yeah.
That'd be tough.
there are lots of positions that post that you are required to work additional time. Or outside. As needed.
Yeah.
Like my position, for example.
Yeah.
I have 29 hours, but for meetings and stuff I have,
there may be times that it
Yeah.
goes beyond the 20.
yeah, that's. I
Well,
believe
and
in
that's
some
why
job descriptions
I
there-
think we're getting confused on what I'm suggesting.
Yeah,
My suggestion is that it get posted as part-time / full-time. The ability of the person to ask for either 28, somewhere between 28 or 40. With the knowledge that we say, and that we did this for Hannah and Sylvie,
uh-huh.
that they were hired at less than full-time, but they had the opportunity to do up to 40 hours if there was the need to do that.
And is it possible to say not only the opportunity, but that we might need you?
Well, yes, so opportunity means that there's the funding.
Right,
When you take the job and the responsibilities require more time, you holding that job have to do that.
that, okay.
Yes,
Okay,
so yes,
that's
yeah.
what I.
Yeah.
But didn't say it.
But we don't say required.
Yeah,
Because
okay.
you're, it's a softer way of saying that there is that leeway. And if you, as the responsible party fulfilling the role, determine that, oh, this week. I can't do everything in 32 hours, I'm gonna need to do 36. You have the opportunity to work the additional 4 hours because we have the money for it.
Okay.
It's all in the
Yeah.
phrasing, but what I'm
It's a way to
suggesting
be flexible.
is we're
Same thing.
opening up more applicants to be able to apply, because if you just say full-time, but the position really can't with both, doesn't have enough activity for a full-time.
Full-time.
But we have somebody that could do 30 hours, but they see full-time, well, I'm not gonna apply. Really, they
I
could
get it.
fulfill a job in 30 hours.
Yeah.
And they're willing to apply.
So even with my bias towards really wanting a full-time person, I'm willing to try.
Yeah.
And see what we
Yeah.
get, see what happens.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
um,
But it can be posted where you have it as both part-time / full-time, so
Yeah.
you're getting
Yeah.
applicants in
Yeah.
both areas.
Yep.
and is there a reason why
Okay.
28, not 30?
There's no reason other than just seeing
That's right.
that the actual time requirement is what's more like on the 28 side.
Yeah.
But no specific reason.
And divides more easily by.
It
4.
divides by 4 and 7 is what I was saying.
Yes,
I was saying that 30 divides by 6 and 5.
yes, but the office is closed on
Three
Friday.
and 10.
Yes.
The office is closed on Friday, so we only have
Yes.
it open.
Okay.
The numbers are running through your head.
And, you know, like you tell me a number and I factor it.
Yes.
Right? Right out of the bat. I'm a factoring person.
Yeah,
All right, after all that discussion, I move
That accent.
that we post the opening for Community Development Administrator and maybe get somebody awesome who wants to stay.
Second,
Okay, all right, moved and seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Right, and the next one, I think it's not something to vote on at this point, but to review, discuss, and plan for staff evaluation process. So that I'm turning over to Pete, because I know he's probably got a bit to tell us about that.
so what I provided you is, in your packets, you have the performance evaluation guidelines that were set up in 2015. That form that was in that guidance was then revised in 2017. And you haven't done evaluations since then. I then pulled evaluation forms from a couple other communities, specifically Freetown and Reading, North Reading. Just to see what are the areas, what are the elements that are being evaluated from each of these different communities, as well as what Whately was looking at. And so from that, I then developed the new evaluation form, which is the one that's on the landscape format.
Oh,
So this really, it takes
Good.
those same things. My recommendation is it is very similar to what was done before. And what I found to work really well is when you have a dual evaluation, you have the employee do a self-evaluation. You have the supervisor do an evaluation of the employee, and then you look at how those meld. Is there an agreement on the evaluation for each of the different topics? If there's not, why? So when both of those are provided, essentially the concept that I had is the employee does it, the supervisor does it, they independently submit their evaluations to me. I then combine them into one unified one. And then I schedule a meeting of the supervisor, the employee, and likely either the town treasurer or myself. The treasurer because treasurer handles personnel.
Mhm.
But if Jen didn't want to do that, then I could be the third party observer of that evaluation. And the employee and the supervisor then walk through those different items, where they agree, where they don't agree, why they don't agree. And then they also set goals for the coming year. And they then look at what was accomplished in the previous year. And I'm recommending that we do these based on fiscal years. Because
That makes
it's
sense.
terrible doing evaluations at the beginning of a calendar year for the previous calendar year, because we're in the middle of budgeting. And it's so much easier to do evaluations in the summer when things are quieter, when we can evaluate on the previous fiscal year. And so that's
I think
one change I would
I
suggest,
have
not doing
no-
calendar year.
no objection to that, I don't, they're
Yeah.
very sensible, makes sense.
This form would be used for both employee department heads and non-department heads. There are questions 9 and 10 are only where the department head would be evaluated on those two criteria points.
Mhm.
All other staff would not be evaluated on
And
those two.
for the so department heads are, police chief, fire chief. Building superintendent, you. Is the treasurer collector also?
Treasurer collector, the
Um,
town clerk,
The town clerk is your own department head?
yeah,
Assessor?
no, they
No,
don't
they're
have
not. Okay.
employees,
That's, okay.
yeah.
So that's like we have 5 department heads.
You got fire. chief,
Unless,
police chief.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
and then the
Right,
other
right.
question would be, we could provide this to the library trustees and the water commissioners, and they could determine if they want to evaluate their employees. Or something.
Okay, and I think by putting it in the summer instead of putting it in the winter, makes it more likely that it's going to actually happen.
Yeah.
But, and at this point, is it too late to do one for this year? That's the question, but I feel like. I mean, what do you think about that? Is that,
We
because
could,
well, you're not granted, you've been here for a year.
over a year now.
It's been such a pleasant year, time flies, it's been so pleasant.
Um,
Still so shiny.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
Yeah.
new.
it's like he's been.
cause I shaved my. I don't see why we couldn't institute this for, like, release it for October and look to
Like
have,
for this year, do it October, but for next year, do it.
do
July,
it more
August.
like August, yeah.
Yeah. Cause I think that was something that was, I mean, the finance committee was, you know, we did a lot. Of work on bringing our personnel up to what we think are much better wages, and this would be one way of pointing out that, hey. You had a good point, and we instituted it, and we didn't wait until another year to start it up.
Yeah.
And if you feel like our calendar or your workload or people's workload is not overwhelming, there's gonna be somewhere it's gonna be harder, cause like our highway superintendent just only been here 3 months, right?
Right.
Ish. So there'll be some where it
A
might
little
be,
more flexible.
where it
Yeah.
might have to be,
That's gonna be true any year. Anytime cause if we always do this in July, August.
Yeah.
We're gonna have employees that were hired in the spring.
There's always.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but, you know,
one other thing about the evaluations too is by identifying areas where it either needs improvement or the task is unacceptable, what they're performing is unacceptable. Essentially, that this creates the basis for that supervisor to have the discussion with the employee that we're gonna set an expectation through this review that we wanna see improvement within, 3 months. This is essentially well, it's not quite an employee improvement plan yet, or a performance improvement plan. It is the precursor to it because it sets the groundwork where you're telling the employee, these particular areas you do need to improve on. Show us improvement and we're great. If over the next 3 months, there is no improvement, that's when the supervisor can then work with myself or the treasurer and institute a performance improvement plan. Where you explicitly identify a time frame and those things, and that's when you make a determination.
Just like
that
it's soft.
Yeah, yep. Not that we're saying that there's any employee that has this need.
right,
It's just, this is really good method in order
Yeah.
to create the reason, not the reason, but. Paper trail,
Great.
Opportunity.
yeah.
the opportunity for improvement, yes, yeah, because we don't wanna go to a pit.
It also creates, say, a paper trail in case there's some issues with a dismissal.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah, and I like that, the thing, like, once a year, then everybody might think about, well, what are my goals?
Yeah.
And maybe that's something where the supervisor's like. How do I support that?
Yeah.
How do I get, I don't know, somebody in the highway department who wants to be more involved in. Learning the skills to maybe this highway superintendent. Then if that's part of their goal and their boss knows it, that's it, right? But
Well, on that
that
same
can be a
page-
really good thing.
doing this in like the summer, if they identify a goal, maybe it's even training.
Yeah,
That because we're doing it in the summer, the department head now knows for budgeting season, I wanna budget for additional training for these two employees that have voiced the desire for this.
yeah,
They put it in their operating budget requests.
yeah. All right, so it sounds like we've at least, we've got something that is similar to what we had before in some respects. In that there's two people to evaluate themselves and supervisors evaluating. Which is one of the things I liked about the previous, right? I like that even if somebody's doing really well on everything, they can still have goals. They can still have, there, I mean, there can still be kind of a result that you act on. And it's not necessarily gonna be a negative result, or a positive result that you wanna act on, and then we figured out a way that it's gonna maybe not fall through the cracks. Like it did, back when we originally did this. I'm optimistic that this will work.
Yep.
And I believe I heard feedback that the 2015 one, the form was
Yeah,
pages or something.
oh, it was,
And so, it appeared overwhelming.
it
What's the
was,
problem?
it wasn't, it was
It
like only two
wasn't.
questions.
The
on
same, I have
page.
the same exact questions. But I formatted it in a different way that just feels like you're actually moving through it much faster.
Yeah.
But it's still the exact same content.
Yeah.
And I think it
Yeah.
is always based on you, like Julie, you know, like the way you present
Yeah,
or design things.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you
Completely,
can make it really
Yes.
easy or make
Yeah.
it seem really hard.
well, right, the appearance of, yeah.
Does this expand digitally for somebody to add more comments?
No, because it's unfortunately a PDF. It
Okay.
would be a PDF that they would fill in.
In terms of design, I looked at this and I thought,
It would
oh.
have to be like a web page for them to fill in.
Well, it would make people be brief.
Okay.
And
Okay, yeah.
Or you can say, if you've been
Yeah.
comments add.
Yeah, there could be an additional sheet, yeah.
Yeah.
Got it.
Well, I don't think we have to vote on this. We want more time to think about it. But if
Yeah, it's
you
up to
want,
you if you
we
wanna
wanna-
think about it, or if you wanna say go ahead. and-
Looks like a lot of thought has been put
Seems
into
like
it.
go ahead.
that's, yeah,
Yeah,
it seems like a go ahead.
okay.
Yeah.
And does that require an official vote?
I don't think we had but it doesn't require a vote, but
Okay.
you could certainly, if you want to, say, yes, we authorize you
Yeah.
to begin the evaluation process.
Alright, I move that we authorize Pete to start the evaluation process.
Second.
2 seconds.
Let's say 2 seconds, all right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, very good. So now we're at select board liaison updates. So maybe we'll start at Fred's end. I'm gonna talk the most, so.
You had a meeting on Monday, it was Garrett Barry, myself, with Michael Richard from Western Sampson about highway garage. They came in with some proposals which were still wildly too expensive. And we had a conversation and I was impressed upon him, the numbers still need to come way down. I think now he gets it, and so greatly diminished expectations, which will still be very expensive. There's no inexpensive option for
There's no
building
inexpensive option for
For
building.
a building. I have scheduled meetings with Chris Williams, the Recreation Department, because one of our possibilities expanding into and building on at least part of the field between the existing highway department and the fire department. And I would like the Recreation Committee to start at least having discussions among themselves about is, any space necessary,
Yeah,
do they need that space? What is it being used for? And
yeah,
don't wanna make sure that they have input into this process.
Absolutely, yeah.
I've got a meeting scheduled also with Pete, with the new chair of the finance committee,
Mhm.
to talk about where you think we can go in terms of, you know, how much to spend, how much to borrow, what the impact on budgets would be
Yeah,
for that. Again, conversation we haven't had yet, but need to get the finance committee talking about
yeah,
that, because this is, it's gonna have to be bonded. We're talking several $1 million.
Yeah.
The costs. The numbers we got, the actual building
Mhm.
is maybe about half the total cost. You've got soft costs, you've got expected increases, you've got, they're just.
Yeah. I know that
And
you're
was,
multiplying by numbers greater than one.
yeah, and,
The number just gets bigger.
right, but the additional costs just over the, well, I would say brick and mortar, but it's not gonna be brick and mortar.
Yeah.
Of the building are what really drive up the cost, plus, and then. I'm pushing this now because it just keeps getting more and more expensive every year.
Yeah.
The existing building, we're going to have to keep using essentially until it falls down, or until it becomes condemned or whatever, for storage, for,
Mhm.
you know, possibly for the office space that's there now, but we do need to have a new building which is physically taller to accommodate modern equipment, which does not fit
Mhm.
in the existing building. More ground floor space to do things, it's very cramped where they are, and a place that will become the new building when the eventual building does become unusable.
Yeah.
Uh,
And hopefully we do that make that new building before
right,
the old one.
right, well, that's why we're doing this
That's why
now.
you're doing it now.
Well, the old building is still usable. But we've got a lot of equipment that's now stored outside that we'd like to be able to move inside. We would like the new building to be built such that it can be expanded to,
Mhm. For future.
for future needs. Particularly in terms of just the footprint of where it is. You know, that it not be hemmed in
Mhm.
physically. There are lots of considerations. I'm not a building expert. I want to get all of the concerned parties, you know, stakeholders involved in the town, because this is going to be a long, complicated, expensive process. But it has
That
to get.
sounds like progress.
It, there is progress. But it's gotta be moved quicker, because, you know, literally every month you wait, the cost goes up. And, you know, we still have to figure out exactly where it would be. You know, is that field the best location? Is there room on the east side of the transfer station? There are now piles of things. Is that a feasible location? We don't want to put it where the existing building is, A, because we want to use the existing building, and B, the disruption of
Yeah.
tearing down that building. We looked at the DeMayo property, it's just not feasible.
Not
It'll be
really. Big
environment.
enough, really.
It might be big enough to squeeze it in, but there's such environmental issues with that property that to be putting big bins of oil and fuel and everything else on there, even in the non-sensitive areas of the property. Probably not be a great idea. So that has been considered and ruled out.
Yeah, I know you guys did a lot of.
So that's it. I'm trying to push this process from our, and it got delayed, and we had to change administrators, and we had to get up to speed, and we had highway superintendents. So,
Yeah.
they're probably gonna have, summer's over, let's move it along. But it is going to be an expensive process, you start running numbers with interest on borrowing and amortization on borrowing, even on a long-term debt. It is going to have a significant impact on the budget.
Okay,
Well,
Right.
but a pinpoint of potential like is,
municipal building fund.
is Natalie Blay
Oh, yeah.
trying to work on getting a state municipal building fund, which I doubt would pay for the whole thing, but it would be nice. If the state put aside some money for especially towns under 10,000 people to build municipal buildings.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's going to happen, but it is at least some consideration possible.
Yeah, it's on the table, finally.
But, right,
I
but
believe the first hearing was this Monday
Yeah.
on that act. Right, I believe it was.
yeah, I think. it
And
was.
originally it was supposed to be live broadcast on the legislature's website, and then that one particular hearing at 1 PM was not being broadcast, it was the other two hearings, so it can be viewed as a recording instead.
Oh, and I think I mentioned a month or so ago, we did get $100,000 through Senator Mark, which can be applied to this project. We got 90 or so thousand dollars in our building account. So, there's a little bit, but $200,000, which isn't gonna start.
That's gonna,
Right,
it's gonna make a small dent in the engineering cost.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right,
Yeah.
but what it does let us do is hire people, architects or contractors initially, so we don't have to worry about having special town meeting
To do that.
to do that part.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's my report.
All right,
Yeah,
oh,
please
great.
don't run longer.
Okay. That's fine. But Julie's next.
Let's see, I've got meetings scheduled with the folks that I'm liaison with in the front office. I need to schedule a meeting with Cindy now that she's back from her health leave and is recovering well. The water department, I forwarded to them the information that I figured they had on their radar about the health insurance, but they discussed it at their last meeting. They do have enough money to cover that water department, which I was happy to hear. And I think that, yeah, that was it. That was it. We had another giving garden.
I saw that's the leftover cucumbers.
There are 4 cucumbers left. So if you're hungry, but we had tons of stuff. People who had taken plants in the spring were coming back and bringing things that they had grown, which was very exciting. And Long Plain, is that Wayne and Scott?
One thing for.
Yeah, they donated some stuff.
Yeah, that's me.
Which was very kind of them. I went over and knocked on their door. They gave us a bunch of stuff. We had a lot of good things to give away. Yeah, that's it.
Great. That has like been such a nice project.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
has been. Yeah, been really pleased with how people are responding and
Yeah.
participating.
And it's like seeing the generosity, it just warms your heart.
Yeah,
I've not needed to go there for vegetables, but
Yeah.
boy, that's a great way.
yeah, it's been nice.
All right. All right, well, my turn. I'll try not to be as long as Fred. But we're continuing our work on, really focused on, is 112 Amherst Road gonna be our new home or not? So where things stand now, today there
For
was.
the seniors.
Oh, sorry, for the South County Senior Center. Sorry, I should say that.
For you?
For me.
Town offices are not.
Town offices are not, okay, sorry. Thank you. So where it stands now, they had a walkthrough today with the EDM Studios folks, which includes an architect, and that's the critical person. And they're to look at that place and tell us, how do you make that into the best senior center we can have? Knowing that it's only about 3/4 of the square footage that they think we need. and looking at what's in the building already. We know we have to deal with the elevator, but there are 2 floors of the building that you can enter without an elevator. So we're specifically looking at how would you plan that building, which the interior is very flexible. You can tear down walls and put up new walls and tear out carpeting and put in, thinking of all those things. What are we gonna need to do so that most of our programming is on the floors that you can enter without an elevator? And maybe put the 2nd floor where there's where you could take an elevator, but maybe put offices there, maybe, so. They're gonna figure that stuff out, and when they give us back their report at the end of this month, so I'm kind of working on a timeline here. By somewhere around the end of the month, we're gonna get this report back, and if there's a positive result where they say, yes, we think you can do it, and here's how we think you should do it. And it may not be a detailed plan of, exactly everything you have to do, but basically a general plan. Then we have to get moving quickly. We're already scheduled some town hall meetings, one in each of the towns. So whatever the result we get, we're gonna tell everybody what we got. And those are going to be, for those of you writing this down at home, I'll speak slowly. Whately Town Hall, it's gonna be on October 10th at 1 p.m. There'll be another one, the following Wednesday, October 15th. At the Sunderland First Congregational Church, that will also start at 1 p.m. There'll be a 3rd meeting, at Frontier Regional School Auditorium. On Thursday, the 16th, that'll be in the evening. We wanted some during the day, because most seniors are gonna be during the day, but we want something that everybody can go to, especially people who are still working. That will start at 6, and it'll be at the auditorium, and we're basically just gonna say, this is the best we can do, and at that point, we have to decide, do we wanna try or not? And we need the public input for that. If people think that this is worthwhile, we'll have a better estimate of the cost. We would have around that same time, we won't probably have the lease worked out, but we do already have a lease negotiating committee that is on standby. They went to the walkthrough as well. And we've got really good people on that committee. We've got Trevor McDaniels representing Deerfield. Jerry Lemon is representing Whately, and he's got commercial real estate experience in his background, so he's gonna be an awesome person for that. And Lauren Starr, who is an architect, is helping for
She corrected the group.
interior design. Okay, sorry. Similar to an architect?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she has space planning experience.
And for public buildings. And she was actually the one who alerted us that, hey, you really need to get an architect to make a plan for the changing use of the building. And so I'm so happy we got to talk to her relatively early on. Within a month of finding out about the place, we had Lauren there. Thanks also to Tom Feigenkevis, who has a Rolodex to die for. Sorry. That's kind of all going on. So I hope that people will put, especially if you're working, put the 16th of October on the calendar to come and learn what we've heard, what we've learned, and we've got basically, we've got to kind of decide by December, because the people who own the building wanna rent it. They started giving us a January 1st deadline. So hopefully by October, we've got some numbers. I think to move in, we don't need a lot of capital, but we might make capital requests in the first year or two to bring about the commercial kitchen. Jen is already working on grants for things, for capital items. Those are good things to try and get from grants. But I wanted those dates out there in the world. And I think somewhere in the mid-ish, maybe after the 16th, but not too much later, I want to try and have a 3-town select board finance committee meeting. Because by then we will have the information. In the background, I've talked to, our finance committee chair, I've talked to Deerfield's finance committee chair. I'm getting the information about the Sunderland, finance committee chair to talk to them. But all along, we've been talking to finance committee members, from all of the towns. So we're trying to get information to the important committees as early as we can, even if we don't have complete information. So that when we get to, mid to late October, we can put a number on things. And maybe in our November special town meetings, we can actually commit the funds, as that's assuming that we get a good positive result from EDM Studios. So that's kind of where things stand. It's like, I'm on pins and needles. I don't know what's gonna happen. So I'm trying to just, feel positive about it, but just keeping people informed and, if I'm really hopeful that this will work. It's gonna cost 1/10 of what it would cost for us to build a building, and then we have to do the maintenance, and then we got to do the plowing, and then we just. So, we don't have a hard number yet, but it's gonna be of order 1/10. I made one calculation that said we could rent that building for 125 years before we spend as much as we would if we bought a
Whoa,
building.
okay.
I think we have to really think seriously about rent versus own. Some people want to talk about, well, who would own the building? We really have to own this building. And, so we've got actually somebody out of Tom Rolodex who actually can speak to that from his own expertise. That when do you look for a lease? When do you look for ownership? And, because in 10 years, the situation could be different, right? So a lease is a way to handle that kind of uncertainty.
I thank you for all the
Yeah.
work that you and the committee have done.
Yeah,
I think the key consideration obviously is the space suitable for seniors?
And that's
That's the primary consideration, but the lower cost would be nice.
Oh, yeah, and if we're taking on other things like a highway garage,
Right.
and in other towns, it's other things,
Right.
Deerfield's taking on a lot of costs with their campus. In Sunderland, I don't know, they're probably still paying off their highway.
And they have a water treatment.
So, all the towns have other competing interests, so if we can make this senior center happen for a much lower price than we thought than we initially thought from our consultants, then I think that would be great.
Yeah, the utility for the seniors it's
That-
gotta be
That's right,
a building that
that's right.
suits the purpose.
And that's right, so definitely how you lay that out for programming is gonna be really important. That you're not counting on that elevator to get everybody upstairs for, have your major programming upstairs, that's probably not gonna work.
Well, I
But
think
the
that
architect can tell
having
us.
programming on a non-entry floor with seniors is problematic. You don't want, in the case of an emergency, where seniors have to get downstairs because the elevators are out during emergencies.
Yeah, and both the first floor and the, what you might call the basement level, you can walk out.
Right.
And so those, I think I'm hopeful that we can come up with a good plan. That will be both good for seniors and that is not gonna send the towns, break the back of our budgets.
Yeah, we were
Okay, so-
even on time.
All right, okay.
Think so.
All right, well now, we should let Pete have some time. Town administrator updates.
Just a couple items. The first one is regarding the Christian Lane Bridge over the Mill River. Over a week ago, we had another accident on the bridge.
Oh.
After that recent incident, MassDOT performed a field visit with members of their bridge department. Their traffic department then put together a recommendation for a stop control traffic configuration to improve the safe use of the single lane traffic bridge or traffic on the bridge. Which includes stop signs on either end of the one lane and then warning signs prior to it to let you know that there is a stop coming up. It is actually standard operating procedure to utilize stop signs on single lane bridges. Ours just didn't have it. And although part of the issue before may have been sun glare, if somebody had stopped at the stop sign, the glare wouldn't have been an issue because they would have stopped and been able to more safely approach it. Those stop signs, I believe, are going into place Monday, the 15th. So there will be a little bit of a learning curve. People, as they're using Christian, they're going to now be warned of a stop sign, and then there is a stop sign. It's for safety purposes. It's not slowing down traffic because you did have to slow anyways. Now you're just
Yeah.
stopping and
Yeah.
making sure it's clear.
Yeah,
Um,
and there's good lines of sight there, so if you
Yeah.
do stop.
You can easily see
Yeah.
straight
you can
ahead.
easily see.
There are some, I know one in Florence where you take a 90-degree turn before you immediately have to stop
Yeah.
before that
Yeah,
bridge
that
crossing.
sucks.
That one, yeah, it's very
Oh, sorry.
difficult. At least this, ours is straight line.
Yeah.
I've got one question about the one lane, but I don't know if you know the answer to this, is for Garrett. How were the barriers, the lane dividers placed? Was that a scientific placement or was that a, let's just close off this lane placement? Because if they could even move a foot or two to widen that lane,
Yeah,
you know, I don't know if they are, you know, very,
I do know MassDOT did provide information in their markup about the
Okay.
barrier placement. And whether it is accurate or there was a
Right.
need to move, I'm not positive. about.
yeah, I'm just, you know, that if it was, you know, if the barrier could be moved,
Yeah,
you know, even a foot and a half, to make that a little wider, it would make it safer.
yeah, that I don't, but I can ask
If
her.
you ask Garrett and see if that's a possibility, or, you know, that lane width is prescribed and set.
How would it be safer?
Just that if someone who is, say, driving under the influence is driving across a slightly wider lane, it
They won't hit the back.
would be less likely for someone to hit the side.
Okay. I just would be concerned that somebody would be like, oh, somebody's oncoming and I can get in there too.
No, I mean,
Makes sense.
literally fucking a foot or two,
Okay,
just, you know, any.
There is currently. It is pretty wide, the.
I know, but any additional width
Yeah,
for someone who's,
but I can ask Garrett, but
Who's-
it may be that the barriers are at the proper
Yeah,
place
yeah,
right now.
and who's,
But now.
or in, you know, in an icy situation where someone
Slide.
slides a little extra space for that.
Yeah.
But again, I don't know if that is possible.
We already talked about the next item because that was put on the agenda, so then the only other update that I had is. With the town office project, we're doing the backup generator, Garrett's actually got that in process right now. Concrete pad has now been poured and
Oh.
the generator should be installed, I think it's going to be next week, and then we'll have Mark. Go ahead and up the electrical. We do have a form that we need you to sign
Okay.
off on the storage tank for the fuel.
Okay.
But because we do have, it is an above ground storage tank, so it does have to go through the fire chief.
Okay.
But other than that,
I think I noticed somewhere in the comprehensive emergency plan for the buildings, that there was some comment about the town offices having no generator. So that might
But that'll have
have
to
to
get updated.
Yeah.
that'll have to get updated.
okay,
All right,
well,
That's
I
it.
move that we adjourn this fine meeting.
I'll second it.
Next meeting is September 24th, 6 P M.
All right, September 24th, 6 P M. All those in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Aye.